talking about HR, what are we really talking about in the context of HR technology? Because the nature of work is itself changing. So can you elaborate on that in the context of, what's happening in the world? How is that affecting the nature of our work? And consequently then, what is the implication from our point of view?
If I were to really look back and look at banking, clearly as a sector, we are evolving. I think we've done a fair amount of work as a sector in India, but I think the rate at which the transformation is happening is much faster than what we probably did in 10 years, and that's probably what is been, I think it's true for all industries, just not banking. So if you look at the way it's transforming operations today, I'll say it's not even, I think, a matter of debate on how digitization and technology is changing the way we perform work in the operations side of the function. I believe digitization is going to replace a lot of human effort in that space. And I'm not talking of technology which is, blue sky thinking. I'm talking of technology that is here and now today. If you look at really servicing, I think servicing again is undergoing economic transformation today. Most of the customers sitting in the room today, irrespective of the banks you bank with, are mostly performing your service requests through your mobile phones. You really don't visit the banks, branches. The last bit, and I believe that's the biggest strategic shift, all banks are focused on, and we for sure are focused on that, is about customer acquisition. So today customer acquisition is still a very physical model. Clearly the definition of marketplace today is changing. Going forward, and I'm not talking about 15 years, I'm talking about next 2 to 3 years or maybe max 5 years, I think the way we acquire customers will change, because customers today are present in online marketplaces. So how are you really going to be present in those marketplaces for you to acquire customers and be ready there at that point of where the customer is? Because the customer is not going to come to the branch. He may, I'm not ruling that out, but it's not an and or, it's both will operate, but large part is going to go to a different marketplace. Now what it means to work, I think if you were to look forward, I think the way we organize ourselves, the way we think of work is going to change. Today work can happen irrespective of where you sit. The model of physical workplaces may get redefined. I keep asking this question, I don't know when it will happen. I think that's going to be fundamental for all of us. Is the way it is changing. Today I've got 70,000 employees. But if I were to really look at digitization, getting into the bank, if I look at analytics being a key lever, how do we really reskill employees? And how do we really reskill them to really engage with the paradigm of tomorrow? To me, companies have to disproportionately invest in learning management systems to ensure that you're able to skill and reskill employees at a rate which is much faster than what it used to be even 5 years back. I think a lot of us are working in that space, but I think there's so much of work that still needs to be done there.
Okay, thank you so much. From your point of view, what are the other external factors that are also affecting our approach to talent, and in particular because of your expertise on talent acquisition?
Okay, well I think the big one, and I touched upon it this morning in my presentation, is social. Whatever you do inside your company now, it's going to be reported on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Glassdoor or wherever by one of your employees. So it's no longer a kind of a closed doors environment where what happens in your company stays within your company. And the reason that's important is because that goes a long way to giving an impression of you as an employer externally in the marketplace. And you need to harness the power of your internal employees. We all do. And I say you, we do. We've over 120,000 people in Oracle, and we do not do it well enough yet. We need to harness the power of our internal employees to help spread the message of what our company is externally. That's really what I would say is a massive factor. The social element is really disrupting us these days.
Yeah, wonderful. So I think I want to now move into the tactical piece with both Anjali and Ajay. Anjali, I know you do a lot of work on the skill piece, and that seems to be an area that is in our area of control. So there are a lot of things that are not in our area of control, but when it comes to capability building, so what is the kind of work that you're doing, and what's your point of view?
So for different sets of people, we are looking at skill building around digitization, around analytics, around numbers. And the only fear is that so much of today's skills will be so irrelevant, and if people themselves do not realize and take their own effort to learn, they're going to be in trouble.
So Ajay, where do we start? I think we've got a really good context and we've been discussing about this throughout the other sessions as well. How do you break this down into processes, your talent approach, nature of work?
Yeah, I think when we talk about organizations being future ready, what do we really mean that organizations are being future ready? Future ready is all about being competitive, being profitable. I would start with the business strategy. So starting with the business strategy, is our strategy clearly focused on scalability, sustainability, profitability, and at the same time ensuring that we are able to add value to our shareholders. So relating that to the workplace here, I think when we talk about work, is our work organized effectively? Starting the work being organized effectively, do you have the right target operating model? Both for the current day as well as for the future. Is it flexible enough to leverage your current existing resources? And can you further scale it up when it means you go through the volatility, uncertainty and change? The third part is about leveraging talent effectively. So any process which is business as usual, can we look at automating it, reducing manual dependency, ensuring that we can leverage innovative tools, innovative processes, even robotics here. So the human element, which is possibly prone to error as well as fatigue, either gets eliminated or gets minimized to the best extent possible. Talking about automation, are our processes scalable? Are they flexible enough to change with the need of the hour? So these are all important parts of the roadmap which organizations have to start thinking about today to make ourselves competitive for the future going ahead. Now coming back to the other dimension here is, from a talent perspective, is to ensure that engagement. By engagement we mean it's not as much about people scores or great place to work, scores which are reflected there, but ensuring that engagement unleashes into workplace productivity and workplace efficiency. So if an organization doesn't have a roadmap for this, you may get transactional outcomes, but you will not drive transformation change and transformation effectiveness. I think this in a summary is a roadmap which organizations would need to have an integrated roadmap. Now these boxes cannot be run in isolation as a workplace, a process or a talent part, but we need to have a joint up roadmap, an integrated roadmap which will contribute to organizations being competitive, productive, more efficient and future ready.
Thank you Ajay, thanks so much.